Hello everyone, welcome back to Royalty Soaps. Now today, I'm going to be making a Valentine's Day inspired soap. I was looking at candy hearts and I just thought it would be fun to do that. I also haven't worked with soap column molds, like the really long embeds that you place on the inside of the soap in a while. So I thought maybe I'd do a couple of those. This entire batch didn't exactly go as planned. It was something that I had a loose idea of what I wanted to achieve. And then I just started adding things, and then I took frosting off when I was gonna put frosting. Like, it just evolved into its own thing. I also just wanted to try a technique on the top that I've never actually done before, to my recollection. Sometimes it's nice to just break out of what you're used to doing and try something new, even if the results aren't entirely perfect. So without further ado, let's make some soap. So today, instead of starting with making the base of our cold process soap, we're actually gonna start with the embeds. So the first thing I'll do is measure out very carefully my fragrance oil. This is Energy from Brambleberry. It smells like Sweet Tarts candy, so I thought it would be the perfect Valentine's Day fragrance, especially since we're doing the little conversation hearts, which I have never thought smelled or tasted very good. They're getting an upgrade to Sweet Tarts. Next up, I will add our fragrance oil straight into our oils because all of our soap canes will smell the same, and because this fragrance oil slows things down a little bit, which we like. We really like, especially whenever you're pouring multiple canes and you don't want any bubbles in them. Right here, I have some sodium hydroxide with water at room temperature. It's already been pre-mixed. It's a teeny tiny amount, and I've added a little bit of titanium dioxide. So I am going to mix this up really well till all the titanium dioxide is completely incorporated. And then I'm going to gently pour it into my oil blend and fragrance solution. And now, using my mini mixer, I will blend this up. I may not even use my actual stick blender because this is such a small batch. I decided to use my stick blender because I want this to get wider, and sometimes the way to bring the best out of TD is to stick blend. Now, the camera may not be showing you the clear difference between the last shade of white and this one, but believe me, it's there. And now, using an incredibly complex technique, and only the pros could do this, I'm going to eyeball. It's called eyeballing. Each one of these little containers for our 3 soap canes. And let's add our color. So it doesn't take much. We're gonna start by adding a tiddly bit of Pretty Kitty. This is a bright pink. Moving right along, we're gonna add some Maniacal Pea. And finally, some True Yellow. Gonna blend it up with my mini mixer. I always start by blending in a very small area so that I can get all of that color concentration, and then after I get all of those teeny tiny speckles out of the way, I'll move out to the rest of the mix. And here are our 3 silicone cane molds. So I'm gonna begin by very carefully, very carefully, because our soap has gotten a tiddly bit thick on me. I'm gonna pour this into the mold, and I'm just gonna tap it down as I continue to pour. Hey everyone, I just wanted to pop in real quick and say that all of the soaps from the February release are still in stock. Head on over to royaltysoaps.com to shop the whole collection and even get your paws on some soap samplers and diamond soaps. We've restocked those too. Okay, all right, into the video we go. Now, I'm back the next day. I went ahead and unmolded these. I didn't talk much in the last clip because sister was struggling. I think I blended things up a little bit too long. I'm not used to working in batches this small, and I just overblended. So, dun, dun, dun. This is not good. Like, that is not a good moment right there.
It is so bad, I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible. So I give you a 1.
The heart really took a hit, but I know I'm going to get a couple nice bars out of here, and it's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. So Using my little silicone mold that I got from Amazon, I made a lot of little conversation heart embed pieces, and with the extra little bits of like spillage or little hearts that didn't look quite right, I went ahead and just chopped them up and made this fun confetti. So I'm going to put the confetti in my base soap, and then I'm going to add the embeds, and then we'll put these on top. It's going to be great. Alrighty, so here is our soap base oils, and I'll just pour the lye water solution in. I'm going to start by just mixing this up by hand, and we did use a little bit less than we normally would because those soap canes will displace some, so we don't need quite as much base batter. Gonna go ahead and add our energy fragrance oil here, and I'm gonna stir that in by hand. I mean, call me being overly conscious now, but after what happened last time, sis is not willing to risk it. Now I'm going to add some of our pastel confetti. Not gonna lie, kind of looking like Easter colors. Just mix that in really good. And we'll go ahead and pour our first little bit in. So I'm not going to pour a whole bunch. This is just the first sticking layer really for our little hearts. Pop that in, and then using a little popsicle stick, I'm going to turn it on the angle that I want it on, which is facing straight up. Okay, so everything is still super runny, and I'm going to have to let this sit for a little while because it's just too runny to do anything with. Now, I know you're probably looking at this and going,
what about this portion of the soap, Katie?
well, it's not going to have anything in it. I'm going to keep the bars. Mainly what I wanted to do for this entire project was get a little experimenting out. I wanted to do some work with multiple canes in one loaf because I don't do that very often. It isn't important to me really if every single bar is sellable at the end of it. I'll probably only end up with like 8 bars I can actually keep, especially because of the pitting inside these particular soap columns. So I'm not actually that worried about that. That's not the point of this batch. The point of this batch is to get a final soap that is kind of inspired by Valentine's Day, get a few bars out of it, and also have kind of a Valentine piece of soap art. Okay, things have set up just a little bit. This is one of the best things about using the energy fragrance oil is that it has the longest amount of work time. I'm gonna add this yellow one in on a bit of an angle because the pink one went in on a bit of an angle. I thought I might straighten it up, and then I was like, no, maybe it'll look like they're all like falling down, you know, I don't know. I just ended up liking the idea of making it look angled better. I poured more and more and more white, and so now I am adding the green. And this one I am putting in just as it is. We're not gonna tilt that one. And I'll go ahead and fill it up. Get all that last little bit in here. It actually looks like I'm ended up being a little bit short, which maybe that's because some of my soap canes weren't completely full. Like they kind of had some parts missing and I had to throw some batter away. All the same, all of them will be covered up. Originally, I thought I was going to make this a high top, but now that I see it looking so good, just like this, I've changed my mind. Okay, I've changed my mind. I'm going to add little hearts on top just like this, and then I think I'm going to seal it with clear melt and pour on top, right? Like, wouldn't that look so good? I'm just gonna start by adding in these little hearts on top. Yes. This is gonna be great. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let this sit about 18 to 24 hours ish, somewhere in there. Then I'm gonna put the melt and pour on top. I might come back a little bit earlier. I'll just keep an eye on it and see how I feel it's doing. It could be as soon as 2 hours. I don't know. I'll wait and see, but I'll clean up the sides, you know, get all the little bits and bobs off of that. Then we'll put the melt and pour on top, and it's going to be amazing. We're back the next day. This is what the soap looks like on top. I'm
obsessed.
I cannot wait to put the melt and pour on. I'm really glad I went this direction instead of adding frosting. It's gonna be great. So first thing is first, I have to make sure that all the edges are really clean. I think the only side I actually have to work on is this back side. You can see right here. I gotta get all that off because it's just not gonna look good on that final bar. It's not gonna cut very clear. Yes, I know, I'm using a little ruler and not a knife. These things are so handy though for cleaning up those edges. Sometimes I like them better than a knife because it's nice and flat. Next thing is super clear premium melt and pour base. Now, I'm going to be very careful when I melt this down. I don't want it to get so hot that it kind of wrecks all the chemical properties inside. I've noticed that with super clear, if you overheat it, the clarity disappears just a little bit. I don't want that. And then I'm also gonna spritz the top of this very liberally with rubbing alcohol. This is gonna help the melt and pour stick to the top of this soap. It's also gonna help any air bubbles that might be tempted to creep into this entire loaf just go away. I may add just a little bit of sparkle to the melt and pour base, but I'm talking the tiniest amount because I don't want it in any way, shape, or form to wreck the clarity. I have what I believe is just enough to cover the entire top without mounding up the melt and pour too much, because the more melt and pour I have on top, the more likely it is that I'll lose some of the clarity. So I don't want it to be too deep. Here is just the tiny bit of glitter I'm gonna be adding. It's called Snowflake Sparkle from Brambleberry. I am simply dipping my spoon in and then dropping that into the melt and pour soap. Again, we're talking the babyest amount. I am not adding fragrance oil to our melt and pour soap base. Again, I do not want the clarity to be bothered. I do not want the soap to turn funny colors. Okay, everything is melted, so I'm gonna spritz with rubbing alcohol on the top of that, and I'm gonna spritz again on the top of this. I cannot wait to pour this. It's gonna be so satisfying. I zoomed you guys in so you can see even more. Another thing I checked for before pouring this layer on top was the temperature of my melt and pour. I don't want it to be too hot because it could potentially melt these little heart embeds, and wouldn't that be sad after all this work to have those be melted? Oh my god. Gonna go ahead and get the last bit in there. I'm trying to go kind of fast. I think that's plenty. And then I'm gonna spritz the top with rubbing alcohol. Just pop any little bubbles. Get everybody to smooth out a little bit. I think everybody has been adequately covered, so I'm gonna let this sit here for probably 30 minutes to an hour, and then we can unmold the whole thing and cut it up. We interrupt your regular programming for a quick little commercial break. I am so pleased to announce a brand new sponsor of the Royalty Soaps YouTube channel, Stamps.com. You want to talk about a seamless and just honestly so fitting integration. As you guys probably know, I own a small business and we use Stamps.com integrated with a shipping system. Stamps.com lets you print official postage. They give you discounts for said postage you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off of USPS shipping services and 76% off UPS shipping services. All you need is your computer and a printer. That's it. No special equipment. Over 1 million businesses use Stamps.com, okay? They've been in the business for over 20 years. They know what they're doing and they're gonna take care of you. Sign up for Stamps.com/royalty soaps for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Once again, that is Stamps.com/royalty soaps. Thank you so much to Stamps.com for supporting the Royalty Soaps YouTube channel. You guys go check them out. All right, let's head on back into the video. Everything is set up. I spritzed it a little bit with rubbing alcohol again, and I'll just unmold this. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
It's no big deal. It's no big deal. This is no big deal.
I'm sure it will be fine. Whoa, wait a minute. Why is that bottom layer so much lighter than the other two layers? What did I do? Or is that soda ash? I don't know. Got Evangeline here. I've tightened up her strings and we're just gonna cut as gently as we can, especially because there is melt and pour on top of this soap. We just have to be a little extra careful. Very, very gently. It's doing great. Okay, let's pull one out. Yes, look how cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. There's a little bit of chunkiness around the bottom here, which is no big deal. I'm not gonna worry about that because all it really needs then is for me to clean it up once it sits for a little while. Oh, I love it. These two are touching and it looks so cute. And look at the top. So here you go. There's all three of the little hearts in there. And then look at the top. Oh, I love it. I'm really glad I took a little bit of extra time and dusted each one of the soap canes in a little bit of mica. You can see it the most with the green, but it really does help the yellow a little bit as well. If I did this again in the future, I might make sure that all of the little additions were made out of actual cold process soap and not melt and pour, just because sometimes melt and pour gets this weird texture around it if you do it with cold process. You can see a little bit of that in this bar. And even the bars down at this end that don't actually have any soap canes in them look super good. My mom is gonna love these. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You could fill that up with like salt and glycerin soap and make it like a heart geode. This one's hollow all the way through. Okay, but why? Why is that my favorite bar? Okay, but I love it. That is such an unexpected, like, cool addition. I thought I was really gonna hate it. Like, I thought it was gonna be one of those things that absolutely bothered me till the end of time, but why does it look so cool? Overall, learned a lot of things with this batch. Learned a lot about adding melt and pour, also potential ideas for doing soap tops in the future. I really like the way this looks, and I think it could be improved upon. We could do this with lily pads and some lily flowers. You could do this with maybe like a painting style. I don't know. There's just so many things you could do with that. So me taking the time to go ahead and do some learning. Listen, I've been making soap a long time, but I don't know everything. Far from it. And we tend to get sometimes in a bit of a creative rut where we do the same things over and over and over again. And while yes, these are not the prettiest bars I've ever made, they were really fun and they did kind of challenge me to step out of my comfort zone. So I'm calling it a win. Well, I'm pleased. We had some hiccups in there. We had some thickening. We had some weird cuts. We had the melt and pour little soap shavings kind of do their own thing in the middle of the batch. There were lots of unexpected appearances inside the bars, but all in all, I'm glad we did it. It's sort of fun for Valentine's Day. I don't think I have enough bars to actually put these soaps for sale on the shop for the March release. However, I will add them willy-nilly to some of the orders that come in on release day. I like to do that with extra bars that I make in videos that we don't end up selling. You never know what sort of freebie goodies are going to end up in your box if you purchase on release day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Also, I know someone's gonna ask to read the shirt, so here you go. There's the shirt. Did you know that I was an emo kid at one point in my life? Now you know. I just saw it on Etsy and thought it was so funny. And I love t-shirts. I love them. Listen, I'm a big fan of wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt every day. I would love to have a new t-shirt all the time. I literally have over 20 of them. Out of all the clothing, accessory, and shoe types out there, like blouses or jackets or tennis shoes or whatever, t-shirts is the one for me. What can I say? So there you go. It's an Etsy shop. I'll link it down below. And yeah, I hope you guys all have an absolutely fabulous day. Be sure you go do something fun for yourself yourself today, like paint your nails or listening to some romantic music to celebrate the Valentine's Day season, or Galentine's Day if you're doing that with your gal friends. I don't really care what you do, just be sure you do something fun for you, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, bye for now. Meow.